Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Mother You Know, The Woman You Don't. This is Lydia, and I'm here with my mom, Sylvia. For this week's episode, my sister Dorcas has a work thing. I was at a work thing the last week. Dorcas is on a work thing this week, so me and mom are just gonna talk for a bit. We have no
And
idea what about. We're
yeah,
winging it, which
and
I'm
mom
seriously gonna.
and Mama's always available. So
I
here we
know. I
are.
had the day off work, and I'm like, well, we need to record this week, Mom. Let's do it like on a random Wednesday afternoon, and I'm sure Dorcas is going to be thrilled by whatever it is we put out, and won't think we're crazy at all. It's fine.
That's right. She's not here.
She's not here. She don't get a
She's
say
not
so in it.
here.
And like she said last week, because I was listening to last week's episode, and she's like, Lydia's not here, so we're just going to talk about her or make fun of her. I'm like, I was sitting in the
Yes.
casino lobby in Vegas waiting for my coworker so we could go to the convention center, and I was like, what? I was like, I hear you. I see you. It made me giggle though, so it's funny.
Yeah. I don't think
Um,
we got too brutal.
no, it's fine. But we did decide, we and mom were kind of trying to figure out what we were going to talk about today. And we decided we're going to find happy things to talk about
We
because
need happy
we
things.
do need happy things. If you listen to last week's episode, mom talked about all the loss of multiple of her sisters in the last couple of years and dealing with mourning of that. And then on Saturday morning,
Yeah. On the
you got
25th.
a mom got a call that another one of her sisters passed away. So that makes two sisters in the last month.
Yes.
And so unfortunately another death in our family, which is very sad, and it's very I think it's overwhelming for everybody, but I feel like y'all, it's harder for y'all as the siblings and for our uncle who lost his wife, obviously, and our
Yes.
cousins who
Yeah.
lost their mother. They feel it, I think, very differently than everybody else in the family, just like every time this happens. But it is a lot to deal with, so much loss. So mom talked about that last week. I'm sure eventually we'll talk about Aunt Beth and her loss, because I know that hit you really hard. So we're not gonna deep dive into that. We're gonna find happy things to talk about. I'm not sure what yet. We're going to see where the conversation goes. We've already started, like before we pushed record, we were talking about nail polish remover. So manicures and pedicures and self-care is very, very
That
important.
makes me
That's a happy
happy.
thing. It does make me happy.
Yeah, the pedicures.
Yes.
Yeah,
Nothing makes
I went in to get my nails done the other day, and there was a gentleman. He's another minister, but he was sitting up there with his feet all up there, and the girl had it up there all waxed, and he almost looked like he might be a little embarrassed because I walked in there and caught him. I said, you know what? It's fine. It's
there ain't
fine.
nothing
It's
wrong with
good.
self-care.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
No.
So I said,
Boys, girls,
you go,
do it.
guy. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
You got to take
so
care of yourself,
yes.
and I was telling somebody, I don't know, when I was on a girls' trip this weekend, after my work trip in Las Vegas, we stayed for a couple of days, and I can't remember which one of I was talking to, but they were talking about how their husband just wouldn't go do that, wouldn't go get manicures and pedicures, and I was like, dude, I will. Remember me and you and Jared went and got pedicures right before the wedding, and the
We
three of us just
did.
lined up, and
Yes.
he's like, yeah, do it. And it was blue collar, boot loving feet, and so I was like, you just gotta take care of yourself. So maybe that's something I can ask in without going like down the deep dive sadness thing. Like, what are you doing right now in this season to take care of you, whether mentally or physically or whatever? What are you doing to be the mother, be the woman, and get through this really rough chapter in your life?
For me right now, it's like if I feel like I need a nap, I'll just go get a nap. You know, like a 2 year old, it's time for a nap. And I don't always afford that to myself, but sometimes it just feels pretty heavy. And I forget who I was telling this the other day, but each of my sisters have their incredible personalities. You know, we were just uniquely ourselves in this bunch of women in this family, and so each one gets missed in a different way.
I
But
think you mentioned that on the podcast last week. I remember you
yeah,
saying it, so I think you had said it in the episode.
yeah,
Yeah.
the different personalities, and then Beth was the youngest right now, and then Shirley was the oldest, and so January come in,
And took the
and so we
oldest and
lost
the
both of
youngest.
the oldest and the youngest, which left me to be the oldest. And I wasn't ready for that. You know, I'm not
It's
sure
a
I
lot of
want to be the.
responsibility.
I know I'm the matriarch now, and I should be in charge of something, but I don't know what that's going to be. You know, um, but for myself, I guess just taking the time to grieve, really, because I don't want to feel bad. I don't want to be sad and all, but I just am, and it's hard to just let it
Well,
go
it's a
and
lot.
do that. But you do have to remember the good times. Because the last time we were all together with Shirley and Beth and all that, there was a lot of laughing about a bunch of stuff.
And that was
But
just a
sure,
couple weeks
that
ago.
was yeah, it was
The
during the
week before
Christmas
Shirley died.
holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
And
last part of
then,
December.
yeah. And Beth
But
and Richard were at our house. Were at my house for Christmas or
for
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was difficult in that Friday before she passed on Saturday morning. She was having a very good day. She was up. She was cognitively. She wasn't getting out of bed yet, and she was mouthing questions, and she was aware of people, and she was asking how Shirley was, and
Y'all
Lynn
hadn't
just all Lynn
told
could
her
say
that
was
Aunt Shirley
no.
had
She didn't
passed.
know that Shirley had passed. She didn't know that, and Lynn just said, "Well, it's not good." Because her husband didn't want her to, he didn't want to put that on her too.
Yeah.
Uh, and so the next morning when we were called and said that she'd gone into cardiac arrest, then that was really difficult. Apart from the the comfort that you get when you know that they've gone to be with the Lord,
Yeah.
or and
She showed up in heaven,
was
looked
it
at
you?
Shirley, and was like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah, yeah,
She's like, "What is
yeah.
this? Richard
That's what
lied to me."
yeah, Lynn and Sylvia, they weren't telling the truth or something. I don't know. It
Oh.
was just which makes you cry, but then you can laugh about that because they're just. I'm sure Shirley's language got cleaned up a little bit.
In
But
heaven,
yeah,
yes.
she didn't say to Beth what she said to me when we went to see her. It was and it'll get funnier, I think, as we remember who we are and each of my sisters and all that, because we can laugh. And we were talking about Deborah and how Beth and Deborah were so close and they talked every day. And so now it's like they catching up, you know. So, but happy things. Let's talk about happy things,
Yes, the things you do to take care of
Yes.
yourself. You like a good mani pedi
Yes, a good
and a good
pedicure
nap.
and
So
yes, and a good nap.
I feel like that's
Um,
really all you need out of life. Jesus, a mani, a pedi, and a nap.
yeah.
Maybe a glass of wine.
Well, I don't hit the
You
wine too often, but
should. Sorry, if
but
anybody, if I had gone through what you've gone through in the last couple of years, I'd be hitting the wine a lot, personally speaking.
um, well, with a steak maybe, but But the new episode of NCIS Origins is on now. That was yeah. So that made me happy today. I
There
didn't
you
cry over
go.
that. Then we have a wedding coming up on
Yes.
Valentine's Day, so that's exciting to us. That's what I told my other sister. I said they want to get married. Yes, please, somebody do something happy.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be a lovely event. It's going to be very private and very lovely. I think out here on the lake.
She's she's talking about our cousin is going up
Hmm.
to where mom and dad live to get
Yeah,
married in a couple weeks.
yeah.
So that's
And
exciting for them. I'm
Daniel
happy for
will
them.
marry them. So it will be a happy time.
I love that for
And
them. I'm glad they're
yeah,
doing that.
I do too. I do too. So it'll be enjoyable. And then Valentine, and we're taking all our little widows from our church to dinner. So that's a fun thing to do all the time for Valentine's. But other than that, of course, the weather's so nasty. We're not doing much of anything out there right now. But
What's it like right now where you're at?
well, it's kind of drizzly and gray, and it's about 51 degrees. It's not too cold. It's not cold, but I keep my bird feeders full, so I can watch my birds by the dozens on my porch. So that's always, you know, that starts my day off nice.
That is
So
nice.
yeah, it is.
I'm glad you're doing
Um,
that for yourself.
yeah. So we had one pretty day of snow, and that was it. I'm good. Just walk out there and go, yep, yep, yep. Oh, that's pretty. Look at them cardinals in that white snow. That's lovely. And it was gone the next day, and I said, thank you, Lord, because I am not a snow kind of person at all.
Yeah. I was
Not
in
snow in Texas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was a
That's a
lot. I
mess.
mean, I was in Vegas when the snow came in. I got out the day before the storm, and then they came in, and I called Jared that next morning, and I was looking like on the weather app, and I like messaged him because I'm 2 hours behind there, and I was like, it's snowing, it's still snowing. He's like, yes, I'm aware it's still snowing. So he got up and he put on clothes and he went out and he like FaceTimed with me so I could see the house. And because I want to see what our house looks like with snow on it
It
because it's
was
brand new. It
lovely.
was
It was just
beautiful.
beautiful.
It was
Yeah.
so beautiful, and there's so much snow on the ground. And I like texted to the girls and sent them pictures of the snow, and I didn't get responses. They're probably it's like we see snow all the time. I'm like, I
Yeah, they
don't see
do.
snow all the time. I don't see snow, and I didn't. You're like when I came in from the airport. What's today? Today's Wednesday. When I came in this past Monday from my trip, like I'm pulling. There's no snow. There's nothing. It
No,
just looks
it's
like when I
gone.
left. I was very blue about it. I really wanted to see. I feel like that would have made me happy. I would have loved to see some snow. And
Well,
that was
it
some
was it
serious
was
snow.
lovely. It was some serious snow for this far south.
Yeah.
Um, and then on let's see, it snowed on Tuesday. Well, on Thursday we had a funeral to go to in Groves, and there was still just tons and tons and tons of snow down towards our Beaumont and Mauriceville and on into Groves. Tons of snow, and so I was just surprised that they got so much more than we did because we
Yeah.
were further north, but it just dumped south of us.
Yeah.
So, but that was exciting.
I mean, it's
I don't want
something.
no more. I
No.
don't want it to snow in
That would not make you
February.
happy.
That would
I
not
mean,
make
that's
me
some
happy.
good nap.
That is not.
That's some good nap taking weather though.
Yeah, well, you're right there.
I
Just
love a good nap.
I'm trying not to hibernate for the winter.
Dude, I
But
totally hibernate. I hibernate for all seasons. I am an equal opportunity hibernator no matter what the season is. My house is always
well,
dark. I'm always curled up on the couch or in my office and like don't use the big light, use the ambient lights and
well, you're right about that. You're right about that.
yes, that's what
Uh,
I want out of life. I just want to
yeah.
take naps
Mm,
and never leave the house ever.
yeah. No, you know me. Throw the blinds open. Danny will go, it starts getting colder. You open the blinds. I don't care. I just need the sun. I need the sun. I need the light.
Need some vitamin D to
Yes, I
I,
do. I
I
need
do
to see.
think when there are times when I am a little bluer, I do think it is because I hibernate. And what's funny, Dorcas used to say that about not the house me and Jared were in when we first got married, the one we just sold, but the one when I lived by myself in Humble.
Yes,
That she would always say that you just have it, like even my old apartment, she'd be like, it's just dark in here. And I'm like, well,
it's like a cave.
it is. And that's just,
Mhm.
I don't know, that's just what kind of I gravitate to. And I can admit that it probably does mess with my mental health a little bit. I own that,
Oh,
but it's
good.
also what I like. I want
Well,
it.
I guess a lot of people do like that. Your brother has blackout curtains and, you know,
Yeah.
keeps everything dark and, uh, you know, but no, no, I need the light. I need to be able to see all the way up the hill and all the way down the hill, all the way, you know.
Do you
So
think that, like, if you didn't have it like that, do you think that would mess with your mental health a little bit?
I think so. Just like my plants, you can't leave them in the dark, and they know me. They're like me, you know. I need the sunshine, and if they don't get enough light, they just wilt. And I guess it's me too, you know.
Oh, it's
So
quite the
I
metaphor,
do.
mommy.
It is, isn't it?
Don't be a wilted plant,
That's
guys.
right. Get
Go
some
outside in the
sunlight.
light.
That's right. Suck in the air,
I've
you
got the
know.
overhead light in here.
Wow.
I
Yes,
mean,
it looks
that's
bright in there.
it is right. I got the window
Yeah.
open because the sun's finally starting to come out. It's been
Yeah.
all gloomy.
Yeah.
We finally got some sun here in Texas today.
Yes,
What
it
was
is
that
starting
earlier?
to lighten
Yeah.
up in here.
Oh well, it
So,
rained the whole way. I went to the doctor this morning. It took me an hour and a half to get to Houston and go to the doctor. It was just gloomy and drizzly and all that. And it's just
in
like, ugh.
downtown in traffic. Oof.
Yeah, I was in the medical center, so I had to go off of
Oh,
Fannin and OST, and
yes.
it was just awful. It was so far. We need more doctors out here in boonies.
Well, we
Doctors.
still have to come to Houston for our doctors, so
Yeah, like 3 hours away.
yeah.
Ugh.
But every once in a while, I need to get to the city, but not long, not
I know.
long. It don't take me long to go. Okay, that's enough.
I know. I was trying to think of things to Jared. This like in a couple of days is mine and Jared's weekend. So like we have one weekend a month where he's not working and we don't have the girls. So that's our weekend. And then the next weekend we have the girls. We're going to go see them. And then the next weekend is Valentine's Day and he's working. So we're trying to figure out like
Aw.
this weekend is essentially our Valentine's Day, and we're trying to figure out like what are we going to do? Like, we thought about like, do we want to get a hotel room and like go downtown Houston, have dinner and go to some museums, or, what do we want to do? And our big plans. We thought about it and we went back and forth. And our big plans are we're going to go to Beaumont, Texas,
For
junk days and go junking. That makes me happy. Like I'm really excited
okay,
about
yes,
junk
okay.
days and thrifting and all that stuff and finding somebody else's trash. But he did tell me when we were kind of playing out what we're going to do, we know we're going to go do that on Saturday and then we're going to go and have dinner on the way back in. He was like, we don't need big furniture. I'm like, He's like, we don't have any room for any more big furniture. It's like, well, babe, I mean, like, what if we find something and it can, he's like, we don't have any place to put any big furniture. I was like, babe, but how do you know? How do you know yet till we find the furniture? He's like, we
That's
don't,
right.
you don't know. We may have, once I buy the armoire, we may find a place to
Yeah, the
put it.
question is, where am I going to put the rest of the stuff?
It doesn't matter.
Where's
That's not the
it
point.
don't matter.
It doesn't matter. If it's called to be ours, it will be ours. So we're going to do that. That makes me happy.
You
Thrifting
don't
makes me
know.
happy.
You don't know when you're going to run across that one thing. That
Yep.
one thing that Google Lens will tell you. It could be the treasure you've been looking for all your life. you know. So
My Polish daybed that is in your barn that
it's
I'm
safe and sound.
I'm
It's
bound and
safe and
determined.
sound.
I want to bring it home and get a custom thing for it because I think I want to put it like by the window by the back door
Mm-hmm.
right there, make like extra seating
Yeah,
is what I'm thinking, something like that. So that would make me happy. um
that would look pretty.
Thrifting makes me very happy,
Yeah,
and I don't know why I haven't been thrifting in like 2 months. I've just been here. We had
that's like
things.
withdrawal. That's
It
like
is. There are things out in the
meth
world.
withdrawal.
There are things out in the world not being thrifted. And I think that it's very detrimental to our economy. I think that it's detrimental to keeping things out of landfills. I don't want things to be in landfills. I want things to be on my shelf. And so that makes me very happy. I want to thrift things. I want to thrift some more
Yes,
books. And I don't know why. Like I think it's so funny because I think it goes back to that kind of like over consumption and why does
yes,
spending money and shopping what need does that fulfill in me, what hole? And I don't know, because I'm the first to admit that I've got a lot of stuff and a lot of home decor stuff that I haven't done anything with, but there's still that compulsion to go out and
yeah,
do that
yeah.
and to thrift and to shop and to spend money. But girl math, I'm like, I'm getting it for like $3. It's at, well, it's
That's
Goodwill. It's
right.
not really shopping, you know.
Yeah, I found a $3 item in a garage sale on the top of a garage here a while back, and it was $3. It had a bird nest on it. It had dirt dauber nest on it, and I pulled it down, and she said, "Oh, $3." It was my grandma. It was my great grandmother's. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? It was up there in this nasty part of this garage. I'll take it, and come home, and it was after it got cleaned up. It's a beautiful blue. It's like a soup bowl, but it's got a little stand you put it on, and it was worth $85. Thinking I don't need the $85, but at least I saved it.
Yeah.
It's not sitting up there. So it's a real genuine collectible,
Yeah.
and it deserves to be saved. You know.
And I think that it makes me, because my first thought when you said that made me really sad for her that she doesn't have that sentimental attachment
Yeah.
to it. But the same can be said for everybody on every episode of Hoarders. That's why they can't get rid of stuff, because there's that
Yes.
sentimental value.
Yeah.
And
But not trash.
I know, but
You
not
know.
trash. But like, I don't know. Well, we can
Oh,
tell the story about Grandma's couch,
the pink one.
the pink one that y'all had the couch in y'all had Grandma's couch in your house now.
Yes.
And when y'all decided to get rid of it, we couldn't get it out.
We couldn't get it out the door.
We didn't know how it got in because it
Yeah.
didn't fit any of the doors.
Uh-uh.
Like, I don't know how y'all got it in there. No idea.
Mm-mm.
And you had to you were trying to figure out how, and you were contemplating taking a chainsaw to it. And you did
Yes.
eventually take a chainsaw to it and kill this couch. And I remember you were so stressed out about it. And I
Yeah.
think I had to
I
search
felt real
whatever
bad.
pearls of wisdom.
Yeah.
And did it? It's not what it. I think it was something to the fact like it is not a representation of how much you loved her. This couch,
Right.
but we
Yeah.
hold on to these sentimental things, especially. I mean, as I feel like as a woman, I hold on to things from you, from Grandma, from our other grandma,
Yes.
from aunts and uncles. You hold on to these things as if it is a as if it defines and it, explains or justifies how much you love them.
Right.
So sometimes you just have to take a chainsaw to the ugly couch,
The worn out, dirty,
the
ugly
the
couch.
ugly couch. I mean, it
Yeah,
wasn't
that
ugly. It was just old and
yeah.
uncomfortable and had springs. It was just take a
It was
chainsaw to it,
a
guys.
hide a bed, and it was 30, 40 years old. And so I thought, so here we go. So yeah, we busted it up and put it on the fire pit. So
But you still
it
love
was
Grandma.
yes, we did. Yes, we do. And so in my ventures this spring, I'm looking for a new couch. And so this one over here, I'm thinking it's fixing to get busted up and taken out of here and burned. You
Well,
know,
maybe it'll fit through the
because we're
door.
in the country, we're on the lake, and we're backwoods here. So
You just burn it in the backyard. No
yeah,
big deal. No one cares.
some people up in here would just set it on their front porch and
And leave
enjoy
it.
it and leave it.
Sanford and Son style.
Yes, yes, yes. So we're just not going to do that.
But
But
we hold on to things. I think that as humans, we have a tendency to hold on to things. Oh, not everybody, because Dorcas, me and Dorcas have talked very bluntly. Like, God forbid something happened to you and Daddy, like all of your stuff, like your antiquing stuff. Like, I have to be in charge of that because she will literally either set the barn on fire, or just chunk everything, or just have like a come take it garage sale. And I'm like, no, 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 no. We have to go through it piece by piece to see what the value is. And she's like, you can do all that. I'm not doing it. So I have a feeling I'm gonna have to just pull up a U-Haul to the barn, put all your stuff in there, bring it home, sort it,
true.
categorize it,
Yes.
sell. I'm gonna have to Marie Kondo it, and it's all gonna bring me joy.
Yes.
And Dorcas will set the barn on fire, and it's fine. And James isn't gonna care. James won't care at
No,
all
he won't
about the
care.
stuff.
He won't care at all.
But I'm gonna be. It's. I can't imagine, like, I don't know, letting a lot of your stuff go. It makes me sad, because it's just
Yeah.
that's how our
So
brains
that's
function.
why I
And
know I need to get rid of stuff before y'all have to deal with it. Uh,
well, let me come and look at
I've
it
got.
before you do that.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'll let you be
Dorcas don't care. I
involved.
care.
I'll let you be involved.
She
Because
doesn't
look,
love you as much as I do, Mom.
or my stuff, or my stuff.
Well,
Uh,
like,
well, and you have to let your children grow up and do their own thing.
yeah.
I don't know. It would make me sad to see all my McCoys and all those things which are valuable in themselves. Uh, like this beautiful little tea pitcher. It's a turquoise one. It's the prettiest little thing, and I paid $5 for it in a garage sale somewhere. But it's really worth quite a bit. But it's just a beautiful piece of art, and that's how I see things. Is that's you know, there's tons of cream colored pottery and all that. So, and I don't have room to display it here where we're at, but
Get rid of some of those books behind you.
get
Put
rid
it
of
all
some
in
of those
there.
books behind me. Look,
Yeah,
baby,
you can use that shelf.
some of them books back there
I
are
understand.
worth a lot of money too.
I
Really, that's
understand.
dad. This is daddy's hoarding.
I
Okay,
know.
this
Yes,
was
it is
daddy's
Daddy's
doing.
hoarding.
This
Yes.
one and that one. There's one over here the size of that one there.
I just want the
So,
bookshelves.
oh, I know that.
One day, yes. I've got my blueprint, my little sticky on that. I want the shelves
Hmm.
Grandpa made, but
Yeah, and that's the thing. Pawpaw did it. Daddy made
yeah.
them, and he worked really hard in making those for daddy, for your daddy.
Yeah. I
And
just feel
so,
like it's hard to get rid of. I mean, we would never want to get rid of those shelves. Those are great shelves, and I
yeah,
would find a place to put them. But it's hard to get rid of things, because I feel like the things are sometimes a representation of just that person, and it makes me think about, like, like, if you don't mind us kind of stepping back just a little bit and talking about, like, what we're the reason we're the thing we're not talking about, the name those who shall not be named, right now, because we want to talk about all the death and stuff. But, like, I look around, like, I have one of Aunt Pam,
yeah,
who was your oldest sister, who passed away in 2021, I believe.
yeah. I
Was it
think
20? I
so.
know we figured it out before
21 or
last week.
22.
Yeah, we figured it out right before the podcast last week. But, like, I have one of her paintings in my office. It's, like, right on my shelf, because at her funeral, after the funeral, we went back to her son's house, and he brought all of her art out, and he was like, hey, this is Mom's art, take anything you have. And so, like, I've got that, and that just brings me joy, because I think about it, kind of just cascades it, and I think about her doing that art, and I think about the table she did that I bought that time that's now in your house,
Yes.
and how this stuff just kind of moves around because we can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
I think
Because
about
just so you know, Ryan loves it. Richard's
fiance.
soon to be, yeah, new wife
Yeah,
loves it. I thought, oh,
I think you want it
so
for it's for sale.
yeah.
Everything's for sale.
So anyway, yeah. And I look around, and think, man, I got to get rid of that. But who will I give it to? Because it needs to stay in the family somewhere, somehow.
But
So
why? What is it about our mental thing that we're like, it has to
I
stay in
don't
the
know.
family? I don't know
I
either.
don't know.
I
I've
need to
gotten
Google, am I a hoarder?
well. At this point, I think you're just a collector.
Yes.
Now, when it overflows,
Yeah,
and
it's not that bad.
it's not that bad right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
And watching Hoarders is one of those things, like if I need a gut check, like if I feel like my house is messy, I will watch an episode of Hoarders and be like, oh, thank God I'm not that bad.
Yeah.
I don't need to have an intervention. I just need to, like, it's a system. You watch Hoarders, and then you watch Marie Kondo, and then you watch the home edit. You go, bet, bet,
Yes.
bet. And
And then
that's
you
how
get
you get through the mental
inspired.
block.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, for sure. Because even right now, I've got to clean stuff out. I have to make room for more stuff, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, So yeah, one of my friends, Linda, has a stack of Amazon boxes. And I keep telling her, don't get rid of them. Don't get rid of them. I'm going to come get them because I need
Why?
to clean stuff out. I just need to clean
Okay.
stuff out. I have to figure out what is valuable and what is not valuable to me nowadays because look,
Is it because life is short?
look, two barns, really, two
Oh,
barns,
it's
two.
it's not a sentimental thing. It's just because you don't have any room. I was
It's
like, is
just,
it,
I'm
Mom?
out.
Oh, yes. It's because you're feeling the end of your life. I mean, like, what's, are you feeling? You feeling your mortality? Like, what's
Yes,
going on?
yes,
It's just because you're out
yes.
of room. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and out of
That's fine.
time.
That's fine.
Yeah, I keep looking. Okay, if the Lord gives me to 82, like my mother, she passed at 82. Uh, so that gives me 10 years to get this crap cleaned out. So I should get started on that. Um,
I
and
need
then,
to come help you.
well, I really don't worry about this, but Pam was 72 and she passed, and Claudia turned 72 and she passed, and Shirley just had turned 73, and so she passed this month. And Beth was 65, and Yvonne was what, 35? Because
I don't remember. She was
there's
young. She was like
six of
34.
us, yes. Because
Yeah.
there's six of us that have gone on to be with the Lord, and then Deborah was just barely 60. So you
I
know
need to stop.
I'm on, well, 72. But looking at my lifestyle and all, I feel pretty healthy and pretty happy, and um, you know I'm not worried about that. So I
Yeah.
I think I still have till 82 at least. You
I
know,
told Dorcas the other day before
but we
y'all
never
recorded
know.
the,
We don't know that.
yeah.
You know.
I told Dorcas the other day before y'all reported the podcast that, I love having a big family. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. Like, I love the 11 aunts and uncles just on your side. And then we have, an uncle and aunts on dad's side. And you've got dozens of cousins and second cousins. You have this big, amazing family and family reunions and Thanksgiving. All these things are so great. But that is the hardest part, is that you are in line to lose a lot of people,
Yeah.
and that is not fun. Like,
Mm-mm.
it's not fun to sit there and get those phone calls and get the texts, and like I said, it's very different from the immediate family of those who are losing the people right now.
True.
I don't even pretend to be in their shoes because I couldn't imagine. But like, when Aunt Beth died on Saturday, like, I talked to you, and then Tabitha called me or texted me, and we start, you're kind of just talking to everybody and talking to Dorcas, you're just going around like this, and it felt like, it's like, again, again. And that is it's a very sad reality of when you have a lot of loved ones, a lot of relatives, and you're going to start just losing them as you get older. And it's not a fun thing to be in. And I don't wish that on anybody. I wish
No.
big families and joy on people, But this is a reality that we never thought about. I guess we never thought that people would die what we perceive to be so young, and especially when it started in 2008 with Aunt Yvonne and her car accident. You just never expect that. And then we had this big chunk, and we had Grandma and Uncle Arnold, and then big chunks. And then it kind of, started cascading, and just like, yeah, we're going to need a break from this for a little bit, Lord. Just a little pause, just for a minute,
Yeah.
you know, and
That's having a big family like that. You,
yeah,
especially when they're just stair step down. And so, but I got to thinking I would rather go through all this
yeah,
and to have had these people, these amazing people in our life. Not perfect, no, not by a long shot, but great people with, you know, incredible personalities. And I would rather have had all this and still know that you're going to lose them one day. And it may be, you know,
sooner
like
rather
a
than you
domino
wanted.
effect because we're so close together in age,
Yeah,
than to have been just an only child.
yeah,
And we have had a little lady in our church that her grandmother was an only child, her daddy was an only child, and she was an only child. And so when she passed, there was nobody on this planet. Her husband had already passed, and he had a son, but they weren't close. And so all her little stuff was still sitting in her little house back there in the woods in Indian
she
Mounds.
she didn't have any next of kin,
She
nothing.
had just her husband's son, and he wasn't interested in any of her stuff. He wanted his daddy's stuff, but as far as having her stuff, I think they took a few things. But and it was very sad.
That
And
is
we
sad.
were just walking beside her. We were taking care of all her business and stuff for her. And we had gone in to visit her, and she said, "Oh, Sylvia, I'm dying." And I thought, Jenny, everybody's dying. We're all dying, baby, but you're okay, you know. And I think Danny's brother and his wife was in that evening. And I told Daniel, I says, I really would like to stay with her overnight. And he said, well, baby, we have company. And so I just let it go. And the next day she passed and by herself. And that was sad to me. So yeah, you know, for us, each loss is massive, but I'd rather have had them and this than to have been alone,
Alone.
or
Yeah.
just one or two, or you know,
Having to
because
navigate the law. I mean, you deal with the law side, but then you just have the legal, the logistical. You have
yeah,
all these things for when someone, leaves this earth. And I couldn't imagine like going through it alone. I mean, you and Daddy have done a good job of like preparing. You have your wills, you know exactly what to do.
yeah,
You have all your
we
stuff.
yeah,
Technically, like, we're not gonna I don't see me and Dorcas and James getting in a fight over this mass estate or
yeah,
anything. No offense.
maybe the bookshelves.
Maybe the bookshelf. There's two of them, and I'll fight both of them for the bookshelf. But
Well, you might
um,
have to share one of them. Okay, you might have to solve this before I go.
no, we'll just like James can have the motorcycle.
Well, I don't know about that.
I will take one of those shelves.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's one of the things, like, you talked about, like, when Grandma died, that y'all kind of made a collective decision, all 10 of y'all, that Pam is the oldest. She's gonna have the final say. She's gonna, logistically. And I think that that's something that you hear a lot about, is that when somebody passes away, there's a huge source of contention sometimes with
Yeah.
families, that they can't agree on a
Mm-mm.
a funeral plot, or a coffin, or anything like that. And I think that you have to make that decision as a family, as children, as all that stuff, to go, this is not going to be something that tears our family apart, because we're already dealing with this. And it's just not, I don't know,
It's
it's
not
just,
worth. There's no amount of money or physical materials that's worth destroying that relationship, I don't
yeah,
think. I mean, if you've had really good relationships all your life,
yeah,
then you're not going to sacrifice those relationships
yeah,
for, you know, a car or whatever money's in the bank or,
yeah,
you know. So, but of course, we just never had much. So there
Yeah.
wasn't no fighting over anything. And if there was anything of value, it just went to Pam can make the decision, but Deborah was a recipient or whatever might have been left. Deborah had the first because she was the one that lived with Mother. She was the
And
one
took
that took
care of
care of
her.
Mother. She was the one that was there and she did the deal.
Yeah.
Uh, and some of us joined in and helped with that. But as a final say, there wasn't nobody that disagreed with that. That
Yeah.
whatever was,
And that's
if there was any
mature.
benefits or anything, Deborah did.
Yeah.
So that went,
It's not worth throwing. I
no,
mean,
it's
what's
really
sad is that
not.
there's a lot of people who don't think it's not worth it.
Yes.
That goes back to the things and the you can't take any of it with you, but you have to have more and more and more, and trying to get out of that mindset of like I don't know, it's that selfish mindset maybe of stuff and I mean it's just I don't know, like I don't know, it just seems like a crazy thing. But we have never been in a situation where like we've lost it. Like I said, if you and Daddy were millionaires, like if you guys were rolling in the
Mm-hmm.
dough, like rolling in it,
Mm-hmm.
I could see where if you let your physical, if you let your mental, if you let those things get in the bed, that it could be really easy to go down a very dark, not dark path, but a
Yeah.
very selfish path,
Yeah.
fighting over stuff and money. That's luckily we don't have anything.
Yeah.
And we've never, I mean, we
Well,
have stuff we're doing very well for ourselves. We're all taken care of and God is providing, but we're not, we don't have money wallpapering our walls,
yeah.
and
You don't have
that's,
a trust fund.
no, what is it?
You
You
don't have a
gave us,
fund.
you gave us work ethic and not a trust fund. So, I mean,
That's true.
that's the thing. I'm like, thanks, Ma.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's
And you will be
fine.
fine. You will be
Yes.
fine.
I'm going to
Uh,
take and flip all the McCoys online. I'm going to flip all your stuff. That's
at
where I
least
make
don't
my
sell.
fortune.
Which you might. You might, girl. You might.
Well,
Uh,
but we've had the discussion. Both of us are completely scared to death of eBay. And so we're going to
yes.
happen. I was like, I don't
Oh
understand
gosh.
shipping.
I
I don't
know.
understand how to do it. But we're going to figure it out one day, Mom. We're going to be brave. And that's our bravery is going to make us happy. We're going to figure it out. We're going to learn
Yeah.
to sell things online like millions of people do.
That's right.
And we're not going to be
And you
scared.
make money.
We do make
And
money.
I'm not calling no names, but I've told you about the gentleman who ended up with a set of Hardy Boy books
Yeah.
and put it on eBay. And by the time and they were in perfect condition, they were just stuck out to the at the end of the road for trash pickup.
Yeah. That's
And
insane.
being a very good collector, an antique, specialist or whatever, he did pick them up, and they did go for like over $3,000.
That's insane. Yeah.
Yes,
Always look in
yeah,
the trash. I
somebody,
wish we had
yeah.
a big trash day here in the neighborhood. I would totally
Oh, we
like
would,
go.
wouldn't
I would
we?
go around and
Rescuing,
yeah.
rescuing.
I love
Uh,
watching videos. Another thing that brings me joy is I love watching videos of dumpster divers. And I want to be brave. And I keep telling like Dorcas and Dwayne and Jared, like if like when we go to Kirkland's, I'm like, let's go dumpster dive in the back of Kirkland's. And Jared's like, we're not doing that. I was like, babe, just. And Dorcas is like, no, we're not doing it. Like, I just want to drive by. I want to
mm,
drive by and see if there's a $400 lamp that someone threw out behind Kirkland's. And I want to do that so bad. But I'm too
it's that
scared.
is that treasure hunter in us,
Yes.
that adventurer, that explorer, that
Yes. But
uh,
we're also scared. We are reluctant treasure
we
hunters.
don't want people to see us and think, oh, look at them sad people.
I don't want to get in
Yes.
trouble. Like,
Yeah.
because there's rules. Like, some states have rules about dumpster diving. And so, like, you
Do
have to
they?
make sure. Yeah, like, if, from what I can understand in the state of Texas, if there's, like, a fence or something, like, or it has a lock, you can't break the lock to go dumpster diving. But if it's just open, free for all.
Huh.
Still scared to do it.
Well, I haven't done that
Yeah, I'm too
actually,
scared. Too
but
scared. I don't want anyone
I
to see
will
me.
go in a junky garage and pilfer,
Yeah.
or in an
Oh,
old storage building, and yeah.
I love a good.
So
But you also know me. I'm not a good negotiator. So nothing pisses me off more than when you go to a garage sale and there is no price tag on things, or you go to an
yes,
antique store.
that's yeah,
Pisses me off to no end because I
yeah,
don't want to ask, hey, like I don't want to ask like how much do you want for this or what is the price on this, and then it
yeah,
be more than what I want to pay, and then I have to put it back. That puts
yeah,
me as the buyer in a very uncomfortable position. Mark your stuff, people. Take the time. to mark all the
Yes.
stuff in your garage sale. Don't do that to us shoppers. And I don't want to negotiate. I'm a terrible negotiator because if you say it's $1 and I don't want to pay $1, I'm just not going to pay $1. I'm not going to counter. I'm not going to go back and forth like we have a thing. No, irritates me. And then that doesn't bring me joy and I get mad.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want this dollar thing anymore because I would have paid 50 cents for it, but I'm not paying $1.
And I just say, will you take a quarter for this? Will you take $1 for this? Will you take $5 for this? If
You
it
did teach me
if it's
that.
I will do that.
You taught me that, and
So
I've only
yeah.
done it once.
And if they don't want that, that's okay.
Yeah.
And I tell them, well, it's just worth $5 to me. It's probably worth $20 to you, and that's fine. But for me, and I've learned this from Mr. Treasure Hunter himself, and he was negotiating. He wanted something. He said, "Well, I'll take it all for $100." And the lady said, "Oh no, it's worth at least 1,000." And he goes, "Well, it's only worth $100 for me, and you can have $100 for it all, or." And so
Yeah.
later, it wasn't that day, but later when he went back for something else, she goes, "You can have it all for $100."
It's like,
So you don't know
I'd be like, we live
what.
in a different world now. It's only worth
That's
75 to
right.
me now.
That's
Sorry.
right.
We
Yeah,
could
that's
totally
it.
make a career of that. How do I make
Yes.
that my full time job? Gary Vee would tell us how, but that's so funny.
Yeah.
Love
So,
it.
and what one person values, someone else doesn't value,
Yeah.
you know. Uh,
How did this become an antiquing thrifting podcast? I'm not sure, but
well, we started out talking about what makes us happy,
yes.
after
What
all the
else?
loss and the sadness, what brings us to that place of happy, you know.
Food,
Well,
food,
food.
thrifting, books. I
Yeah.
like those things. Um, I don't know. You made anything good lately?
Have
Any
I
good food?
read anything?
Oh no. Have you cooked anything yummy
Oh,
lately?
oh yeah. I cooked some gumbo the other day, a ton of gumbo. And I had
I
to
like
take
your
some to
gumbo.
Joe next door, and I took some to Michael over there, and Daddy and I ate it, and it was very good. Yeah,
I do like some
yes, I
gumbo.
did. And then I had a ham bone, and any country people out here knows you put a ham bone in a big pot of pinto beans and let it simmer, and it's out of this world. So it was really good. And I took some smoked deer sausage, and I took the casing off of it and crumbled it up and put it in them beans. So that was really good.
Yum.
Uh, and also, yeah, I've been cooking more here
Yeah.
lately because we're just about done with eating out so much. So, and that makes me happy when I can cook something. I just need to flip it around where I'm cooking more healthier and being
Yeah.
more aware and cutting down on my portions. Is true, because that is one of my goals this year is to cook healthier. Just try to get healthier. I want to make it to 82,
Yeah,
and I
me too.
need
I
to,
need you here.
yeah. So
I
I
got a
need to,
long life ahead of me,
yeah.
hopefully, and I need you here. I can't do it by myself.
I need to.
Um,
Well, we all need to do those things that are heart healthy. And diabetes, you just got to get your diabetes under control. I
I don't
mean,
have
no,
diabetes.
you don't, but you know who I'm
Oh,
talking about. You know
I'm like,
who
what do
I'm
you know that
talking
I
about.
don't know? I went to the doctor this morning. They never said nothing about no diabetes.
No, you know who I'm talking about. So, and my A1 was 6. And so that's everybody's panicking and going, "Oh, you're diabetic." No, you're not. You're not a diabetic at 6. You're just like pre-diabetic. So, trying to get that. No,
You're not as undiabetic as you should be.
that's right. Just on the borderline. One more step, I'm crossing the bridge. Okay, so those are just the things that we have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And look, I took my blood pressure pill this morning. I showed it to Daniel and put
Thank
it in my
you.
mouth. So,
Again, we'll call an initiative to have people like Facebook bomb you and tell you to
well,
take your freaking pill every day.
I know, girl.
Maybe that'll help grow our social media presence that we
Really?
barely have. Have an initiative for you guys. Mom, like I'm gonna tag you on TikTok. Like mom is always forgetting to take her pill, so let's let mom take her pill.
I'm doing better.
You
So
are doing
yeah,
better.
it's important to make this the next right step in our life. You
Yeah.
know, we're uh, we're
You know
comfortable
what?
where we're at, but I got to do better.
You should try doing something like baking bread. I enjoy baking bread. I'm gonna bake some bread this weekend. I can't eat a lot of it, but I'm gonna bake some
Right?
bread
Oh, I love
and
baking bread.
Yeah. I want
But
to make like
I
sandwich
also
bread.
love eating bread
Yes.
with lots
I
of
want to.
butter.
Yes. Well,
You
and
know,
some things aren't inherently bad for you because I figure if you
no,
make
it's
it from
not.
scratch,
It's not inherently bad for you.
yeah. I want to make sandwich bread. I have a
Mm-hmm.
ton of videos. I want to learn to make sandwich bread. I told Jared if he would eat. Like he likes like really like multi-grain bread.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know like if he would eat just my free, I mean if I bake it and put it in front of him, he'll do it. Worst case, the girls will eat it. The babies will eat the crap out of it. Like I can make my artisan bread. I have to make like
Uh-huh.
2 loaves, and the girls can kill it. They'll just stand there and eat it. And like again, this goes back to I don't know if this is the right decision or not, but it's homemade, so I figure it can't be that bad.
No.
Just put a hedge of protection on them, and I'll make some homemade butter, so it's nice and little house on the prairie for them. But yes, try making bread or something.
Well, I like bread, and I can make bread. I know, I've done that. And rolls. Mother used to make yeast rolls from hand all the time, from scratch all the time.
Yeah.
So,
I have a
just,
recipe. I have Aunt Carolyn's recipe.
oh, do
Jared's
you?
Aunt Carolyn. I do, yeah. I
Uh,
have her recipe, and I need to write it down because hers are always so good.
yeah.
You just want to sit there and just binge bread.
Send it to me then, baby.
Okay, I'll
Send
take
it to
this in
me.
my phone. I'll send it
Yeah,
to you. So thank you, Aunt Carolyn,
that's
for
right.
that. And
But those are the things that make me happy. So,
yeah,
what makes you happy?
um,
What?
makes me happy.
Yeah.
Um, my husband and the girls make me happy. I like spending time with him. I like spending time with them. I wish we did it more. For like me, like things that are just mine. I do like reading. I'm trying to finish the book that I've been trying to finish for longer than I'm proud of just because I've been so busy and traveling for work and for the last 2 weeks and just kind of so I'm trying to do that. I enjoy thrifting. I do. Like
Yeah.
it makes me really happy to find something old and eclectic. I did have to go to TJ Maxx the other day, which I haven't been to TJ Maxx in a very long time, but I was looking for something very specific and I didn't find it. But I found some other things and I don't normally like to get art from places like that. I don't want mass
Mm-hmm.
produced art. I don't want that anymore. I did that when I was
Right.
younger. You go to IKEA,
Let
whatever,
me
and you
just
get
say,
the
you have got some of the most incredible pieces of art in your
all from the
house, baby. Really.
right now from it's that freaking
Yes.
it was that estate sale that I lost my mind at for that teacher over in down 90, that one who she was a teacher and she lived on that farmhouse,
Mm-hmm.
and I lost my mind in that thrift in that estate sale. And I was like, I'm just gonna get a couple of things. And I spent hundreds of dollars at this estate sale. And I got that bench and I got that the Polish art and I got that
Yes.
Spanish art and the Italian art. And that's the things that I want to buy and I want to like get is thrifting things like
Yeah.
that have a story. And like I have so much stuff from that woman's house. Like she has, and it's over here. It's like this, and I looked it up online, and it's like an Italian Kleenex box, and that wooden one that's pink and
Okay.
gold.
Yes. Yeah.
Like she had to buy that in Italy, so she went on. It looked like she went on an Italian trip, and she got all this stuff, and so the Kleenex box and all this art that I got from this woman, and I'm just like that makes me happy, and I don't know why, because there was this woman a couple weeks ago on TikTok, and she did a TikTok about how like who are these people who thrift? Don't you know you're just buying junk? And the thrifting community was
Oh my
up in
God.
arms. They were up in arms. It was the best thing ever. We were all ready to just take it to the streets because this woman didn't know what she was talking about. And it's like, tell me you're boring without telling me you're boring, because I want the stuff in my house to have a story and a history. And it may not be my history and my story, but I got the privilege of walking through this woman's home who spent God knows how long in this house collecting and living this life. Because if you look at the stuff and like when you look it up, like you can only imagine the life that this woman lived.
Mm-hmm.
She's somebody I would want to talk to. And like when I was looking at the pictures online, and I even made a TikTok about it when I was on my way over to that estate sale. And I was like, this looks like somebody's grandma. Obviously, she was older, but I wanted to go over there and have tea just based on the pictures. It's like I won
Yes.
this house and these stuff, and I got there, and it was just the most amazing thing. Like the house was
Yeah.
older, and I could imagine like somebody like Chip and JoJo coming in and doing their thing, or Nate Burkus and Jeremiah coming in and doing their thing, and this house would be amazing. But her stuff had a story, and you could tell that she had been places and she had lived and she had bought things and she had all this stuff. And I would sit there and I remember going through this estate sale the first day, and I wanted that bench, the one that I have in the entryway.
Yes, yes.
And I couldn't find it on the first round. And like, because I have a system, I go through the house at least once. If there's something that I'm like, oh, I can't pass that up, or if I'm questioning it, I'll leave it there. But otherwise, I'll just carry it around with me. And I couldn't find this bench. And I did my first round of stuff, and they had a big table outside. You can just put your stuff there. If it's a long table, you can't take anybody else's stuff. And I asked the lady, I was like, and I went through all the pictures, like, where is this at? Because it was like 30 minutes after this thing opened. So I don't think anybody would find it. And she was so sweet. She was like, oh yeah, it's on the second floor in the third bedroom on the left. And you're going to go in the room. It's going to be under this desk, and it's got this stuff in front of it. So it was hidden, but I found it, and that made me happy. Like, I got so excited going to this estate sale and losing my mind and buying all this stuff, and admittedly things I don't need.
Right.
I have this rocking chair now in the guest room. With that rocking chair, I don't know, but I couldn't leave it behind because it was going to get lonely. Is that one that you saw, the one that like folds up and it like got the thing on it? So the thrifting makes me happy. The art makes me happy. In my heart, I am an artist, but I'm really not. I can't. In my heart, I want to be an artist. I want to be a good singer. I want to play my guitar more than the 2 chords that I know. I want to be a writer. I want to do all those things, and I'm just not. And that's okay. It's okay.
But you have the potential for all that.
Yes, but I also have to not want to take 10 naps a day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go.
That's what I get from my mom. It's like, I want to take naps, but I also want to be talented at things and have skills. And I'm like, I'm sleepy. But I did take up crocheting yesterday.
That's a good thing to do.
Yes. So I sat in bed last night with the crochet needles that Jared bought off of Amazon for some reason. And I just sat there and I started learning my little stitch. So I took it to the doctor with me today. And I've got now 5 feet of one big, it's going to be the longest blanket ever of this stitch. I'm practicing my stitches. And so I'm learning to crochet.
One long cord, huh?
Yep, pretty much. It's going to be the biggest bookmark ever. Because the next thing I have to learn is how to turn around and go back. Like, how do you do the next? Because what I've learned is that bottom stitch is the one that starts it off. And it's a different stitch than the ones you do when you're building it out.
Yeah.
So I can't remember obviously what it's called now, cross stitch or whatever.
But you're a smart girl. You can figure it out.
Yes, I will figure it out. I watched a video on YouTube.
Yeah. Yes.
So that makes me happy. Thrifting, crocheting is now going to make me happy. Food makes me happy. And I can admit that I remember you telling me one time that it's not healthy to have an emotional connection to food.
Well, you can enjoy it, but you don't have to be in love with it.
Yes, okay. But that's the problem.
I enjoy a good steak, but I don't have to eat 16 ounces of it.
If you're on the carnivore diet, you could.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Yes, if that's all you're eating. But me, I have to have the cream potatoes and the gravy. And
cornbread and
let's get some corn in there with a stick of butter in it.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
I know.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
So that makes me happy. And I said, just kind of just trying to figure out kind of what's next as, a wife and a mother to the girls and whatever's coming down the road that's trying to grow our family and trying to focus on, trusting God in this process and trusting God through what the family's been going through the last couple of years and not fully always understanding and just trusting for everything from my job to these things. It's very hard for me. I admit that it's very hard for me just to trust blindly, even though he has provided and come through at every turn.
Completely.
I am the Israelites in the desert. I am, because I'm like, Lord, bring me food. And then he brings me food. I'm like, Lord, when are you going to bring me water? And I stress about the water that he's not going to give me. And then he gives me water. And he said over and over and over to the Israelites, he provided time and time again. And they're always complaining about the manna. And that's me. I'm an Israelite running around in the desert. Even though God provides time and time again, I still question it. But it's fine. He loves me and he knows that I do my best.
He does. And finding joy in the Lord. I mean, that's, and you look at who the Lord is and how he has absolutely blessed us time and time and time again. And how he keeps showing up. He keeps showing up and then we don't trust him. And it's like, okay, Lord,
I
I'm going to
saw,
trust you.
yep.
I'm going to trust you. It's a choice you make and it's a statement you make. And you say, okay, Lord, I'm going to trust you and believe in you
Yeah.
and just have that faith
Yeah.
of a grain of mustard seed.
That he's setting I saw this thing the other day and I saved it. I have a whole folder in my TikTok that's like things to talk about on the podcast that we just need to go through one day and just talk about all this. But somebody had said, because Zacchaeus is the one who climbed the tree
Yes,
to
yes.
see Jesus. It said that God planted that tree 50 years before Zacchaeus was ever going to need it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just never know what God is doing to lay the path for your journey. And I was like, okay, okay, God, all right, I'm listening.
Yes.
So that was a good little okay. What trees he's planting, what fields he's preparing. Doesn't make it any easier because I still had a meltdown on the way home from the doctor.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It's
But you have to see his hand in
yeah,
everything.
it is.
Even in Genesis, where he tells Abraham that he said, Abraham believed God, and that was counted unto him for righteousness. And so everything from there on just points to who Jesus is and his righteousness
Yeah.
and how we trust him. And it's a choice. You say, okay, Lord, I'm going to trust you. When Pam passed away, it was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Because we had just spent that weekend a few weeks earlier at Cooper Lake, just having a girls' weekend. And Pam and I were sharing the same futon, and so it was a sleepover. And within weeks, she was gone. And it was either get bitter about it or be so grateful that we had that time together
Yeah.
with all of them, except for Beth. Beth wasn't with us, but all of us girls and Shelby and her little girls come over. And so we were really grateful about that. And then it was like, okay, God, I'm going to trust you. I can't believe this happened. I cannot believe this happened. And then a few months later, when Claudia went on to be with the Lord, it was like, okay, wait a minute. And so again, I had to make a choice to trust the Lord or not. And I just, okay, you are in charge of life and death, Father. I wasn't ready for this. And then when Debbie got sick a few months later, it was like, wait a minute. And then again, it is just saying, okay, God, I trust you. And then when Shirley passed, it was okay. I understand. She was elderly. She was in a nursing home. She had lung cancer. She's had a great life. She got two great kids and her grandkids, and you've blessed her and called her home. Okay. And then to have Beth get so sick
So
and
fast.
all so fast. I
Yeah.
mean, right after Shirley, and that was on a Thursday. By Sunday, Beth was in ICU,
Yeah.
uh, and so Saturday was just another very hard decision to say. Maybe it wasn't even that Saturday when she passed. It's 3 or 4 days later to make that decision again to say, okay,
Do
no,
you ever
I'm
find yourself wavering in that at all?
sure. I think so. Yeah, or just grieving. I think grieving harder for Beth because we were supposed to be in town next week and we were going to be with her. She had such a great day on Friday, and Richard and I were talking about that glimmer of hope. Oh, thank goodness she's turned the corner and she's on her way back. And I think going to cardiac arrest the next morning was really hard. So to say, Lord, I guess it's just, and you don't look at your life and think, well, it's just about time, time's about up. No, you never look at that and think, I think, well, probably I got 20 more years, I got friends that are 80 and 90. I can make it, you know. But you just have to trust the Lord.
Do you ever get angry with God? I don't remember you
I
ever
don't
being
know that
angry
I
with
was
God. Your
angry.
faith has always been prevalent in who you are and what you raised us to be. We may not have always like seen eye to eye or whatever, but I don't ever remember you being like, I've struggled with anger at God. I mean,
Yes.
it's
Yes,
normal,
I
I feel
think I
like.
wasn't angry at God. I was angry at the situation. I was
Yeah.
angry that we lost Beth so quickly. I was angry because I had not gone over there like I said I would. Once she come out of ICU, I thought as soon as she gets out of ICU, then we're going to get over there. Of course, it snowed and it got icy and it rained and it was nasty. And we had a funeral on Thursday in Beaumont. And so it was just life itself. And then I was just angry with myself for not going over there because I thought, okay, that's all right. We're going to be in town on next week. And so she's gone. And so no, I wasn't angry at God. I wasn't angry at God. I was very, I was disappointed. I was
Yeah.
disappointed, and maybe not even in God, but in myself for not taking the initiative and just going ahead and doing that.
I mean, Mom, you
So
have to. I would have been very stressed out and irritated with you if you'd have tried to drive down here in that weather last week.
sure, and I never would have done that. I would have done that if I knew that you know we
But
didn't
even
have her
then,
for
I
very
would.
much longer.
To think about what could have happened, like I'm glad you didn't. I'm sad that you didn't get to spend your final days with her leading up to that. But also too, I wouldn't want you trying to drive through what that weather was last week in Texas here.
Yeah,
I mean, down from where you were, that would have been too stressful.
and that's true. You're right, and that's why we didn't
Yeah, we'd
because
had
it was
words.
bad. Yeah, we would have, huh? Uh,
Yeah.
but
You think I
but
stalk you too
that's
much now on Life 360? Imagine. Like, just go ahead and FaceTime me the whole time so we
we're
can see what's
gonna,
happening.
yeah,
We'll just stay on the
yeah,
phone for 3 hours. It's
yeah.
fine.
Uh, so, but it's not a matter of being mad at God. But some people do get mad at
Yeah.
God and
I
are angry about that and want to know why God let that happen. And I guess I never thought that. Well, maybe I have. That why did God do that? Don't He know me? I'm His child. Why did He do that to me? Or why did He let that happen? But then you have to think about His wisdom, and He's the one that knows. You know.
I mean, even though
So
I know that the Bible never promises sunshine and roses, when you look at the Bible, there's all kind of everybody had
yeah.
really bad adversity, and
Well, and
Jesus
Jesus
got the
said,
worst of
yeah,
it.
Jesus
You
said,
know, but it
tribulations,
doesn't.
yeah, you're going to always have tribulations,
Yeah, but
but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world, you know.
yeah,
So,
it doesn't make it. We're still human, though. Like
yes, we
I'm
are.
still human, and we still have these human emotions, and you question, like God has a purpose for everything, but like you look at something, and I still struggle with the question of like when we look at like what happened with Annie Vaughn.
Yes.
And again, we don't, our pain does not even begin to compare with her family's, when she passed away. The loss that we suffered is nothing compared to the loss that they suffered at all. But you're sitting here question, like, what could possibly be the reason? What could possibly be the reason that he chose to take her in the way that he did, when she had two little kids? And luckily, our uncle found a lovely woman who raised those babies, and they have a beautiful life and all that. But you think, what could possibly be the reason? And you start just trying to create things in your head and justifying it in your head and going, okay, well, maybe he knew that because it was what, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 14, 6 years later, grandma would be going to heaven. Grandma would
Yes.
die 6 years after Aunt Yvonne did. And so what could possibly be the reason, you just make up these scenarios in your head. Like for the longest time, it was just grandma and grandpa and Yvonne because she was the youngest and everybody was out and there was three of them together. And then they were the first three in heaven together. And you're like, oh, there's symbolism. The symbolism there. It's beautiful. Oh, Jesus. But then you're also like, it sucks. It still sucks. It doesn't make
Yes, it
it any
does.
less
Yeah.
sucky that
Yeah.
they're dead, but that's just life and people are going to pass away. And then, you try to think like, Lord Jesus, what are you doing? Book ending. Like when and I'm not trying to make light of the family's loss the last couple of years, but he takes the oldest, the youngest, the oldest, the youngest. He just kind of bookends,
It's
and you're
been
like, Lord,
that,
this
hasn't it? Yeah.
this pattern is not okay. I'm not liking
Yeah.
the pattern because it was Yvonne who was the baby, and then you had Pam who was the oldest, and then you had Claudia, and then you go back to the youngest, and then Shirley, and then back to the youngest, and he does this little bookend thing, and I don't like it. This pattern isn't fun and it's not enjoyable. And you're like, Jesus, I know Jesus has a sense of humor, but it's like we're going to need to change that pattern up a little bit and get just a little hiatus. Need a little And then you got Uncle Mac, who's going to outlive everybody.
Yeah.
Living with cancer for as long as he's been living with it, and
He just sheer
he's just
determination. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is.
He's
He's
just
just gonna
sheer determination.
yeah
But that's still God. God's still in control of that,
yeah
and He knows that, and He'll tell you that. And we're walking on this earth right now because He's not finished with us for sure.
yeah
Uh, and also that we have that hope. We certainly have the hope, and we don't know now. We will later, and it will be insignificant.
yeah.
You know.
Because I don't
So
think it's gonna matter. I think
yeah,
once you're once this life is done, to be absent from the body, to be present with the Lord, and I think that it's just not gonna. We're not gonna sit around and dwell on it. And um, again, I saw something else on TikTok the other day that made me like got a tear up or whatever, and somebody had said, when you think about somebody who has passed,
mm-hmm.
it's like they like to believe that it's because they're in heaven telling somebody about you. And so like I'm like, I know it's probably not true. Maybe it is. I don't know. You never know
No,
what's happening up
no, it's not
there.
going to be true because up there they're not concerned about
Us.
what's going on
I
this
like to
earth.
believe it, Mom. I just want
I
to know
know.
it. I just want
Okay,
to believe
believe
it.
it. Believe
Thank
it.
you.
If it brings you
It
peace.
brings me joy.
Yeah,
No, I don't know. It's just been a lot of loss the last
it has been.
couple of years for all of you sisters and for all your sisters and brothers and the families. And it's just, it's it's crazy. And what is even crazier that when you look at the next generation, it's a
Yeah,
lot more than the 11.
yeah,
And some of us are really close and some of us aren't as close. And it's just like, but cousins are different. I feel like cousins are a different dynamic than like
yeah.
brothers and
Well,
sisters.
and
So
and I was reading the other day that the hardships we go through here is just to remind us that we don't belong here.
yeah,
This is not our home. This is not we're not to get satisfied and love this world so much that we don't
yeah,
want that we want to stay here.
yeah,
Uh, and that this is this is not the final destination.
yeah.
This is just the journey we're going through. And so heaven is our home. And this life here
It's
is
just temporary.
always going to be full of trials and tribulations
Yeah,
and failures and get up again and keep
yeah,
going. And that's why and that's why I choose the Lord. That's why I
yeah,
choose Him. Uh, and that's why I choose when the situations get bad to give Him room into our life.
yeah.
Uh, so, okay,
Because it's the
Lord,
only way to get through it.
this is getting bad.
Yeah,
I'm going to need you to step in here
yeah.
and get me under control, but take care of Lord.
Yeah,
So,
it's like I used to do that thing where, like, whenever when I was trying to buy that first house and financially your things were good, or like when the freaking Hurricane Barrel put a tree in our house after making two payments on it, and you're sitting here and like my prayer turns into like, Lord, you got an insurance premium to pay. I don't know how you're gonna do it. That's on you.
look what happened to your house.
Look what happened to your house, Jesus. I don't know where you're gonna find that money, but you better find it.
And he did, didn't he?
And
And he
I'm sure
did.
we'll talk more about it later, but like, we haven't talked a lot about it, but like, my husband and I are going through IVF and doing all this stuff and it's expensive. I'm like, Lord Jesus, you got a round of IVF coming up. And Beryl took our IVF money. And so I'm gonna need for you have an IVF cycle to pay for. Jesus, you better get on that.
Yeah.
So that's not funny.
And he does, doesn't he?
He will.
And
I
he
have
has.
faith that he will.
Yes.
It's all going to be as okay as it's going to be, whatever that looks like. So,
Yeah. And we don't. But
yeah,
we just have to say, Lord, I'm going to trust you.
yeah. Anything
Whatever.
else brings you joy you want to talk about? Besides, I mean, if
Well,
you want to talk about the joy of your middle daughter, that would be fine. I think
I do have great joy talking to you.
with the middle one, yes.
With you, yes. You're
And I guess
you're
we'll
my
talk next week with
you're my
Sissy. That's fine.
favorite middle child.
As I should be,
And
yes.
James is my favorite son.
That's so
And Dorcas is my
correct thing to say.
favorite oldest child. I'm proud
They're
of all
not here,
three
Mom.
of you.
You can say the truth. That's fine. I won't tell them. We won't tell nobody.
Okay.
So
We'll keep it a secret.
we'll keep it a secret. That's
Yeah.
fine. They secretly know. Like we all know that Ariel is the favorite. Yeah, we all know. It's
Yes.
fine.
Yes.
So
And Maya.
okay.
And like
Yes.
mother always told Mac, went around saying, I'm the favorite. I'm the favorite. She says, yes, you are. You're the favorite for who you are. You're my favorite child for who you are.
She was so diplomatic.
She was. She
Yes.
was.
With 11
And
kids, you got to be diplomatic.
yeah,
I feel like you got to do something. So
yeah. You look back and you think she did not show favoritism at all. At all. There I can't look at any of us and think, well, mother really loved Pam the most. No. Yeah. So
she
uh
did like me more than she liked Deborah. I made sure Debbie knew that.
oh, did you?
Well, because when I would call and talk to Grandma back before she was getting older and her memory was not what it was, and I would call her once a week on my way home from work, and we would just talk about stuff. And like she didn't, like I said, she didn't remember. Like, she had trouble remember who Deborah was. Like
Yes.
she just
Yeah.
her memory was not there, and she always remembered me when we get on the phone. And Deborah would get on the phone. She'd be like, "I live here. I take care of her, and she has no idea who I am. But you get on the phone." And I'm like, well, Deborah, she loves me more than she loves you. I don't know how else to explain it, Debbie. She doesn't like you that much. So she did show favoritism to me. So
To
it's fine.
you. Okay.
Yes, she loved me.
She did.
She
She loved
did.
all her grandkids.
She loved me the
But
most, but that's
you
fine.
did take the time to call her, though. You did.
And I bought her Celine
And
Dion CDs, and because she went through a Celine Dion phase,
yeah.
which I'm for it. I'm all for it. And she wanted some Celine Dion CDs, so I had a whole bunch, and I gave them to her. And she still has, well, it's probably somewhere now, but like she had my is it the Long Walk to Freedom, the Nelson Mandela book? You know how
I
I am
don't
about my
know.
books. Like I don't
Yes,
lend books to
your
people,
books. Yeah.
and like she died. I'm like, where is my book? So my Nelson Mandela biography, Grandma had it. I don't know where it's no telling where it
Yeah,
ended up.
there's
Probably
no
at the
telling when
Goodwill.
it
I'm gonna find it at
maybe
the Goodwill one day. It's
I
gonna
don't know.
say property of Lydia Sereno.
Lynn took a lot of her books and stuff. So it's probably in a box somewhere in Lynn's garage,
She's
maybe.
probably hiding it from me because I had the teapots.
That's right. You
Because I
did
had
have
all Grandma's gravy boats. I
the
had all
gravy
Grandma's gravy
boats.
boats.
Yeah.
She's like, "How'd you end up with the gravy boats?" I'm like, "I don't know. Grandma loved me more than she loved you. I don't know what to tell you." So I'll go ask later. Like, do you have my copy of Nelson Mandela's book? Because I gave it to Grandma 15 years ago and never got it
Hmm.
back.
Okay. Well, I'll ask her. I'll ask
Well,
her.
I did give her the gravy boat. She has. I
You
kept one
did.
gravy boat, and
Yeah.
Aunt Lynn has the rest of the gravy boats. So that's funny. But
Yeah,
okay,
because she
well,
brought them to me to give to Yvonne. I guess mother,
Grandma gave them
yeah,
to you to
mother
give
gave
to
them to
Yvonne.
me to give them to Yvonne. And gosh, I must have had them for 2 years
Yeah,
or Yvonne
and then
passed.
Yvonne went to
It was
heaven.
like, oh, she's so.
Mm.
Uh,
Well,
anyway, so
I hope that this chapter for you, Mom, that you find some light at the end. At the end of all this, I guess. Just
yes,
I'm proud of you, and I'm really sorry for what you and the other siblings are going through with all this stuff. I know it's hard, and that
it
we're going to
has
be
been.
okay.
Oh, we are. No doubt about that. We are. And we find peace in the Lord. And then you come to the place that you go, okay, it's okay. It's okay because they're not sick and they're not
Yeah,
suffering and they're not, and they are in the presence of their mother and their father. And
yeah,
first off, in the presence of the Lord. But then there is, those people we know and we love. And I was looking at one of the church directories from Wood Forest years ago, and there's tons of people. And I looked through there, and it's like all these people are already gone to be with the
yeah,
Lord. This is a lot of people that died, and even our pastors passed away a couple
yeah,
of years ago. So it's like, you know, we are going to have a reunion one of these days. It's going to be as big as a dinner on the ground. I'm telling you.
yeah. We're
Uh,
going to get an Eagle Award.
that's right.
Only Southern Baptists will know what that means.
That's right.
Yeah.
From the 70s and 80s.
Yes.
So
Oh my
yeah,
God.
we still give
That's
ourselves
funny.
an Eagle Award.
You get two more people in your church of 12.
That's
Like, you got
right.
an Eagle Award. Yes, that's 20%
No,
increase in membership, baby.
that's true. In Sunday school, we don't even have Sunday school classes.
That's funny.
But yeah,
Okay.
we deserve that. And anytime I see an eagle flying among my pine trees out here, I just feel like the Lord's just telling me something.
Yeah.
So it has significance. It's
That's
got
funny.
meaning.
Okay,
So
Mamacita. Well, I feel like that's a good stopping place.
yes, thanks for
And
talking to me.
Yes, well, no, thank you for. I
Yeah,
said I had the day off. Let's knock one of these out while Dorcas is at her work thing.
that's right.
So, everyone listening at home, thank you so much again for joining us
Yes, thank you.
here. I hope that our conversations, while completely unhinged at times, can, just hopefully you can find something to relate to in what we're talking about. And we will be back next week. And I think we've got some guests coming up in the next couple weeks, which is exciting.
Yes,
And then be sure to check us out at themotheryouKnow.com. Like us, give us ratings, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And we will see you guys next week.
we will see you.
Bye.
Bye bye.